They say everything happens for a reason. But what if the reason isn't something that happens to you? It's something that calls through you. That song that plays when you think of someone. The clock striking the same numbers again and again. The stranger's glance that feels too familiar. You call it coincidence. But what if coincidence has been calling you by name all along? We'll return to this before the end. Picture an old courtyard at dawn, stones glistening with dew, a small pool mirroring the first light. In ancient temples, seekers would wait for signs, not from voices, but from reflections, from echoes, from chants. The Hermetic philosophers taught that nothing in nature is accidental. Every event, every meeting, every breath follows a hidden geometry, a rhythm between the seen and the unseen. To them, coincidence was the shimmer where two worlds touched, a moment where the fabric of reality folds slightly inward, allowing the soul to see itself. So the question isn't why coincidences happen, it's why they happen to you. What are they trying to say? And perhaps more importantly, who exactly is listening? Let's begin with an ordinary day. You think of someone, and a message arrives. You dream of water, and the next morning, it rains. You take a new path home, and meet the person who changes everything. You smile and whisper, "What a coincidence." But the ancient mystics would have smiled differently. They would say you stepped into resonance. Resonance is not cause and effect. It's reflection and response, like a string, vibrating in harmony with another across the room. The universe doesn't push events toward you. It tunes them around you. What happens outside echoes what vibrates within. This is the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. The sign that appears isn't random. It's your own energy reflected back in form. If you wish to see the pattern, don't chase it. Breathe. Watch how your thoughts ripple outward into numbers, colors, songs, and faces. Coincidence isn't life speaking to you. It's life remembering you. But that's only the beginning. Now comes the transformation. When you begin to listen, a coincidence has no power until you enter it consciously. It's like standing before a mirror. You can see your reflection, but only awareness brings it to life. Paracelsus once spoke of three forces: sulfur, the spark of will; mercury, the movement of thought; salt, the body that receives them. These are also the three layers of a sign: the spark, the event itself; the movement, your recognition; the form, the meaning you give it. When the three align, coincidence turns to conversation. But beware the mind's haste to claim, to decode, to force meaning. The Hermetic path is subtle. To read the sign, you must become like still water, reflective, not restless. Let the image settle before you decide what it shows. Perhaps it speaks of something small, a reminder to breathe. Perhaps it reveals a path long prepared. Or perhaps it's just the world saying, "I see you." You call it coincidence. It calls you by name. And each time you answer softly, its language grows clearer. Here lies the secret most forget. The universe doesn't send messages to you. It is you speaking to itself through the geometry of time. Think of it this way. Your thoughts are seeds. Every emotion, a pulse of energy. They move outward like rings on water, invisible but alive. And when they meet other ripples of the same tone, a pattern appears. That meeting point is coincidence. This is the principle of vibration. Everything moves. Nothing rests. When your inner world harmonizes with the rhythm of the outer, the veil between them thins. You start to recognize the symmetry of existence, eh? A question in your mind answered by a line in a book. A doubt in your heart mirrored by a sudden light breaking through clouds. A silence that somehow feels like understanding. These are not intrusions from fate, reflections from consciousness itself. And the more you listen, the more you realize. The one who listens and the one who speaks are not two. We've come full circle. You call it coincidence, but perhaps it's a forgotten dialogue between your soul and the living fabric of creation. Every time you notice a pattern, every moment that feels too aligned to be chance, the universe softly repeats your name, reminding you that you belong to the rhythm that creates worlds. It has never been about predicting signs, but about recognizing yourself within them. So tonight, when something small catches your attention, a flicker, a word, a scent, pause. Don't ask for proof. Just listen, because what you call coincidence may be the universe remembering that you are awake. And maybe that's what the old masters meant by destiny, not something written for you, but something whispered through you. We've returned to the beginning,